Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. This new moon is in Leo, very close to Venus, who is retrograding quietly back towards the Sun. There's just 2 degrees apart. So I want to say this new moon is on Venus, which suggests to me that the emphasis this month is on actually loving, actually being in relationship. And because it's a retrograde Venus, that tends to point us to past relationships and our modes of relating that stem from the past. This could be past lives, or just early this life, or at any point during this life, but experience that we've already had. The 2 major connections are a trine to Uranus from that place, which suggests we need to be ourselves, absolutely we do, exactly how we are, truthful, free to be truthful. But then that stands for everybody, so we have to allow other people that freedom also. And the quincunx to Chiron, suggesting that it is the old pains of relationship that are rising, but that they are rising to be healed. The other connection that this group makes is quite a broad square to Saturn, but that does mean that the square will be getting stronger in the next few days from the Sun to Saturn. Always a time when we're liable to find that what actually is the case is not what we wish it was. So we have a tendency to clash swords with reality. And because it's in Leo, we're likely to be expecting things to be rather brighter, shinier and more happy than they turn out to be. Our job is to get the message, to realize the truth in a way that teaches us, and to find happiness in what is so. Thinking about it, what that kind of clash would be, it seems to me that it's very much an internal clash, partly because the Saturn is still making a connection with Mars, even though Mars has moved into Leo, so it's not a direct trine, and it is linking fire and water. But nevertheless, it does mean that at the solar plexus level, we're liable to be experiencing the very deep emotions of wherever we have been. And the Leo-ness of wishing things were really good and happy and straightforward and out there, so that we can express ourselves exactly as we are without fear, we're liable to find that, in fact, we've got some very deep emotions there which make it not okay to do that. It's our own emotional setup which is the problem. So in a way, these are internal clashes with ourselves. It seems to me that it's the positive and the negative in us having a battle. Optimism being over-optimistic maybe, the pessimism being heavy and full of anxiety, fear. Both positions are not correct. The correct position, I think, is taken by the Mercury, interestingly, in Virgo, who is able to look at the whole thing in a fairly dispassionate way and see what it is that needs to be completely shifted in order to make it work better, and with that trine to Pluto. So as long as we can keep a kind of mental hold on things, it's funny, I don't normally find myself advocating the mind and being intellectual with it, and I don't really mean intellectual because these are earth signs we're looking at, but it's being in touch with the truth in a kind of dispassionate way, where Saturn, who is the truth of the emotions and the past and the attitudes and all of that, I think it's to do with the learning that we have made in past painful situations. As children, we learn the wrong things. We have an experience of being completely ignored by mother, and we learn that mother doesn't love us, which is not true. So then we put that learning into effect in all our following relationships. And whatever it is, we make these false learnings. And Saturn is showing us these false learnings in their most perhaps scary way or a completely irrelevant way, so that we can see that they're a mistake. And the position of Mercury shows it will be a fairly natural experience to look at what's going on and see what the mistake is and put it right with that lovely connection to Pluto. We will have to be careful when we're helping other people, because when Mercury connects to Pluto like that, the power of change comes through too strong, and you could find yourself pushing people about, trying to manipulate situations into what you can see they need to be. But actually, of course, everybody has to go at their own pace. Everybody has their own style, and we must not interfere. The opposition to Neptune suggests that we will, in fact, have enough sensitivity as we look at situations to see where we need to pull back, how far it's okay to go, to pick up how the person on the receiving end of our advice is actually feeling, and of making our adjustments accordingly. We just have to be awake and aware in the moment, in the present, in all our connectings with people. The full moon chart shows a wonderful change in the energy pattern, in that Venus and Mars come together in the middle of Leo. The relationship's warm, friendly, full of fun and energy, still trining that position, that middle part of Leo, trine the Uranus, so a lot of fun, but the beautiful strong quincunx straight through to Pluto, those changes being healing in relationships, being able to be ourselves truthfully in our relating, to be honest, so that we can come to understandings in our relating. And then the Sun has just reached and passed Jupiter, who has at last moved into Virgo for the coming year. Having given us a year of Leo already, finding ourselves, it's now in that place where we learn to put ourselves in service to the situations, to sort things out at last. And opposite, of course, we have the moon, but the moon right together with Neptune. So very, very sensitive, hopefully in touch with the spiritual truth of things, receiving the inspiration from the spirit and being able to put it into useful practice where the Sun is. The square to Saturn is well past, and yet Saturn is still making a lovely connection to Mercury sitting on the North Node. So the communications are about harmony, balance, justice, and Saturn in its depth of understanding, as it comes to the very end of Scorpio, assisting us to commit to the beauty in our relating, committed to bringing our personal strengths into a usefulness in the community. Let's go for this. And the contemplation follows. It's more of a meditation this time. Imagine your heart and solar plexus being one large centre of energy, allowing a sense of rooting down into the earth. Relax and breathe into this body image until you can feel your throat. The energy expands lovingly up through your head, becoming wider and brighter until you become a mighty vortex rooted in the ground and connected to all things. Know that you are loved and that this energy is life itself, flowing and loving. There is nothing to do but this. Bow your head to the beauty of it and try to remember it during your days. Thank you.